A lot of producers are saying the same thing. You know, I'm done making rap music. Rap isn't selling. Why would I make rap? I'm doing this now. I'm doing dancehall now. I'm doing Afro beats. I'm doing EDM.
I just think this whole exercise is dumb.
We have to coordinate an episode where we all wear the same hoodie, since we all have the same hoodie. Good morning, day, evening, whenever. It's the damn it, I can't call this podcast anything yet. We're still working on the name, but you know, look at us. It's the MEC. I can't say it's the MEC, but it's the MEC. How's everyone feeling today?
Yeah, I'm feeling good. I don't always go through comments, but I did look at some of the comments from the last episode. I feel like I should do a segment, like addressing a comment every time.
It's a trap.
You should just pick one and address it.
It's a trap. I posted a comment today to my community tab after, mind you, posting 10 or 11 beat videos and 3 music business videos. And the comment I got was, damn, man, you never focus on the music. You focus on everything else. So I'm just like, you can't win. You can't post anything, you know, because when you post too much music, it's like, man, it was the original comment, man, you don't smile, man, you ain't shit. And then like, it's a trap, but cool, man. I want to see Dame walk into the trap of responding to. Is it a good comment or is it a silly, misinformed comment?
I'm gonna go back to it now and see what it was, because I don't remember exactly what he said.
Is it about how your smile makes him uncomfortable within himself? Because I get that a lot.
No, I'll try to find it, but carry on.
Let's just quickly address. So we had an episode. We didn't have an episode. We recorded an episode some months ago about the Ebro comments, which were, I think, alarmist. I think it's fair to say they were alarmist. That's my opinion. His tweet took the internet by storm and sparked a lot of conversation about the rap music genre. And he, in a nutshell, said labels are now deprioritizing signing rappers. That's all he said. But a lot of people extended that to mean hip hop, music, and culture are now dead. Rap music's no longer selling. And then there were a lot of conversations about why that was. And, you know, I think a lot of the conversations were happening, conversations that could have been productive, but they were happening on a false pretense. So I don't know that they went anywhere, simply just because we're in this era where you can kind of tweet anything controversial and people will just take it at face value. So recently, Juicy J, who's a legend, absolutely, and not just as a recording artist or a brand, but also as a music producer, he posted that rap sales were down 40%. That sparked a lot of conversation as well. And I think the conversation was centered around responding to the implications of Juicy J's claim and not his claim itself, which I thought was, you know, typical for the internet. However, unfortunate. I'll just read his tweet. I think everyone's seen it. He said, rap music is down 40% in sales this year. This is the fact. A lot of responses pretty much confirm that, not with data or facts, just with responses that affirmed it. A lot of people blame Nicki Minaj for some reason. I don't understand what that's about. Someone said Afro beats is a new wave. Rap is dead because the Jews are controlling the rappers' freedom. So this is the kind of intelligence level that we're working with when it comes to these responses. Rap music has devalued itself over the years. Rap music has been dying. Who do we blame? I blame Drake. Time for evolution. Most of it sucks. AI's taking over. It all sounds the same. So there are a lot of people who are rushing to confirm what Juicy J is saying. And he did say it's a fact in his tweet. Now, I'm just automatically skeptical with numbers. We talked about arsonist statements about how UMG owns 40-50% of Spotify. I forget what the number was that he gave, but it turns out that those weren't actually, by his own admission, those weren't actually the correct numbers. People took that and ran with it. I remember looking at the podcast when he said what he said. Everyone else on the podcast he was on just looked at him and said, yeah, facts, just like what happened on Twitter. So a lot of people will hear a statement that they already believe to support whatever's in whatever idea they have in their head. They're like, yeah, cool, facts. I just accept that. It's kind of our job not to. So let me grab this, these stats, because these are the stats that I think I looked at back during the Ebro conversation, because there was a lot of alarmism there. Because a 40% drop in sales, if Juicy J is saying it's a fact that rap sales are down 40%, I guess the implication is that in 2023 they're down 40%. That's a big drop. It's a huge drop. So shout out to Trapital. They've analyzed Luminate's data. Luminate is a research group, and this is the same data that I believe we looked at during the Ebro conversation. Billboard published an article, blah, blah. No hip hop album or song has topped the charts in 2023, which I think is now changed. I think Drake, Travis Scott, and Lil Uzi Vert all had #1 albums, but it's hard to confirm because you Google stuff and you don't find anything conclusive. Trapital goes on to say, to be clear, hip hop is still the most listened to genre of music by far, and it's still growing. According to Luminate, it has a 26.8 share of U.S. recorded music consumption. The next closest genre is rock at 20%, but that hip hop number was at 27.7% in 2021. So that's a 1% decline, and it peaked in 2020 at 28.2%. So the growth has slowed down, which you would expect it to as it becomes even more mainstream, as it adapts to the new streaming platforms and the methods of consumption. Travel writes that it had a heightened growth period in the 2010s. What happened in the 2010s? Streaming, file sharing, all that, among other things. And so where is that 40% number from? Trapital also put, because the other part of his narrative is that every other genre is growing beyond hip hop, and based on the numbers, that isn't really true. So Wendy Day posted a bunch of these Trapital charts, and it looks like Latin music is growing, and people are saying, oh yeah, Latin music is taking over. Latin music's market share, it looks like, is at 5.4. It was at 5.4 in 2021. Now it's at 6.3, which is, it's a bigger growth margin than rap. However, we're talking a fraction of a percent. So
do you have the charts that you're looking at? Because I if you wanted to put them on display, because I feel like a lot of people on YouTube, it would be beneficial for them to see, because I have some of them pulled up, but I think you're going back and forth between a few of them.
So this is the Trapital chart, and it shows the share of total revenue. This is in hip hop and R&B, but then the Latin numbers are here. So we went from 2021, which is 5.4, to 2022, which is 6.3. With rap, it's 27.7 to 26.8. And this is the decline everyone's worried about, and this is the jump that people are focused on. So when we look at just the raw numbers, should we be alarmed? Is this because if we look at historical data, it's up and down, up and down, up and down all the time.
I just think this whole exercise is dumb, because it like artists shouldn't care. Like this industry, like if I was selling refrigerators and there was only like 7 players in the market, then I care, right? But you're an artist. You're amongst tens of thousands of other artists, and you can carve out your lane no matter what kind of music you make, right? There's nerdcore. What is the fraction of nerdcore growth in that? I'll show you some nerdcore artists making tens of thousands of dollars on the Two Lost platform every single month. That's why this, like, I'm a data guy, but like not this. This is dumb. Like, you're looking at the ocean and you're playing in a pond. Like, you just have to find your pond that works. Like, it doesn't, I don't care about any of this. Like, I don't care where Juicy J got his number. I'm assuming the 40% might be the decrease in the growth rate, maybe.
That's a hell of a number.
But I don't care. Like, I just like, it doesn't matter to independent artists. Like, you make your music and you find your community. Like, this is not, we're not selling cars, we're not selling refrigerators. There's tens of thousands of players making music, right? And there's a lot of different interest in music. So whether rap slows a little bit, I mean, unless rap just goes away completely, which is not going to be the case, like, artists shouldn't even be responding to this, in my opinion. Like, is
this just another option for people to make an excuse for themselves? Because I was seeing that a lot, where people are like, oh yeah, I quit rap. I hate rap. You know, it's someone that's been rapping and they see this tweet and they're like, yeah, I'm done with rap. I'm making Afro beats now. And I'm like, how? You're from Connecticut. But then also, like, in the producer community, you're seeing that a lot too, where a lot of producers are saying the same thing. You know, I'm done making rap music. Rap isn't selling. Why would I make rap? I'm doing this now. I'm doing dancehall now. I'm doing Afro beats. I'm doing EDM. And one, I think, obviously, I agree with Dame. It's stupid to focus on these data, especially given that the data aren't alarming. You know, if you're a numbers dude and you see an actual 50% decline in growth and then a decline in sales to match, that could affect some people, but should it affect creatives? And the numbers aren't that crazy. We're talking about a 1% decline in growth, not sales. Hip hop is still up there and people are jumping ship. It maybe it's just the internet, because, you know, there are millions of people quitting every day, or at least publicly declaring that they're quitting rap, as if anyone really cared. But also, it does kind of feel like, you know, this narrative that, because there's a narrative out there that people who jump into rap are just in it for a minute and trying to make some quick money. And then when they realize that that's not actually what it is, then they get out. So there's a lot of disingenuous, fake commitment to rap music. And it's like the second someone tweets anything disparaging about rap, the so-called rappers, the people who would live and die for this music and this culture, just suddenly back away. And they're like, wait, I'm not doing rap anymore. What are you talking about? The producers are like, I can't make rap. It's too negative. Like, man, we're the creators of this music. How are you going to say, I don't make rap anymore, it's too negative? Bitch, you make rap. Either you made it negative or you ran when things got tough. Which one is it? They can't make your music any type of way. And you can't justify using sales data, but people will. They'll be like, well, no one wants to hear what I got. It's like, okay, well, then the second Juicy J tweet, suddenly rap music is negative and it needs to evolve. So which one is it? It's a really convoluted conversation. And ultimately, it's just people misusing, misreading, and misrepresenting data for their own benefit, whatever that benefit may be at that particular moment.
Yeah, I mean, there's cats. I mean, Marlon Craft. Marlon Craft is kind of like a throwback artist. Like, he's rap. Like, artists are still doing well in their lanes. Like, no independent artist should get overwhelmed or respond too emotionally to any of these articles like this. Like, it just doesn't matter.
Well, they're not even articles, they're tweets, because at least with an article, there may be some sort of citation, but a lot of people are throwing numbers out there without any sort of data, without any source. And I think the problem is people just accept, well, there are a lot of problems. What am I saying?
Well, while people are out here responding to this stuff, you know, the artists that get it have their heads down, doing their thing, cashing their checks every month. Like, so I don't, it's like rap's never going anywhere. It's going to continue to evolve. People are going to complain. Like there's always complaints about music, no matter what era you're in, right? When we were growing up, like the complaint was, oh, they only put one single on a CD and expect us to buy the whole CD when only one song is good. How many times did we hear that growing up? And that was the case for a lot of you would hear one single that was slapping because it was played on the radio and it was a hit, and then the rest of the album was fillers, right? That was probably like the number one complaint about music as I was coming up. Like, we got to spend 15, 16 bucks on this CD to only get one good song.
And in the 90s, people were saying rap was formulaic too. I remember people getting really upset. There were always riffs in the listener community, and some of it was like, well, you just got a crossover record and you're watering down the genre. Well, you always have an R&B singer on the hook, or you always have this type of sound, this type of production, this type of music video. It's the same ongoing thing.
They complained about Hammer. They complained about Vanilla Ice. They complained about
this is the 80s, the late 80s.
They complained about Soulja Boy when he hit the scene.
Yep.
It's complaint. There's always going to be complaints when it comes to music. It's literally every single year. The complaints change a little bit depending on the music being made and how we're consuming music. And now people just have a larger voice. Like the random people have a larger voice because of social media. So complaints get amplified. But it's a lot of the same complaints, just recycled.
Yeah, and the same thing stands, which is that there are the people who are complaining, and then there are the people who are working. Sometimes there's overlap. Sometimes the people who are working are complaining because they know how to leverage that into social currency, i.e. attention and reach and engagement. But for the most part, the people that I see complaining aren't really doing much other than, I think, authentically complaining, because when you're a little shaky, you're a little insecure in what you're doing, someone else's tweet can affect you and knock you off your balance a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, I would just, continue to focus. And I don't want people to take away from this that like data doesn't matter, because I think it does, but it's like your data. Like, are you doing better than you were the last year? Like, how is your music tracking? Ordinarily in other markets, like I said, I would care more about the market data, right? Like when I worked for a consulting firm and I was working for Fortune 500 companies, like we would care more about the market data. But this, like, independent music is just so much different than, other industries. And you're such an itty bitty you're trying to get such an itty bitty slice of the overall pie, right? Like if the overall market is, I don't know, $50 billion, whatever the $1 billion it is, like you're fighting for your essentially $100,000 to make a living, and that's 0.00001% of probably smaller than that of the market, right? So yeah, it's a different ball game.
I just, shout out to other people who are looking at these data, and rather than making a video, because I saw a lot of content about, Juicy J says rap music is decreased in sales and popularity by 40%. Ebro says rap music is no longer getting signed. And a lot of people would make content saying, well, here's why this rapper is trash, and fuck Lil Nas X and fuck Nicki Minaj, and just, going off on because, they know that people want to hear these rants that aren't actually based in reality. They just, they're already upset at Lil Nas X because of his Halloween costume, or Nicki Minaj for whatever the fuck reason. So it's good for clicks. But there are people, I want to shout out one in particular, Curtis King, who has consistently confronted these conversations and the so-called numbers, and has gotten to the bottom of things, at least insofar as debunking these false statistics. So there is hope. There's also hope and backlash when positive things happen in the music business. And, you know, as establishment as an artist like Taylor Swift might be, you know, we had the conversation about Drake, right? You know, what if Drake went independent? This was before he signed a new deal with Universal. And then it was like, well, now they give him $400 million. So he's back to being UMG. But somebody like him being independent could change the paradigm. However, Taylor Swift has, I think, changed the paradigm quite a bit over the last few years. I don't know how far reaching it has been, but there's a lot going on, and Aaron is on it. Aaron is our official Swiftie correspondent today.
That's hilarious. What you just said actually spun this in a new direction for me.